Ladies and gentlemen, I have for about a year now stated that William Barr and John Durham are looking at intent, motive, answering the question why. Why did James Comey act the way he did? Why did Andrew McCabe act the way he did? Why did Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and Kevin Clinesmith and James Baker and all of these people at the FBI, why did they act the way they did? Why? The question is why. That's it. The question is how with Clinton's email servers. We already know why. We know that she wanted to hide her communication. The how is how she obtained and stored and sent and received top secret and special access program intelligence from intranets within the United States government. How did that information find its way to Clinton servers? Now, you're going to hear William Barr with Martha MacCallum. William Barr is a very interesting, I'm going to be his anger translator during this segment. William Barr he's hilarious. When you really pay attention to William Barr, he's absolutely hilarious. And what he'll do is he will, in the most diplomatic and cerebral manner, he'll try to accuse people of actually deliberately undermining Trump without accusing them in the most polite form possible, in the most polite manner possible. So it's actually pretty hilarious. You're going to hear it right now, and this is an interview with Martha MacCallum where he basically says exactly what I've been saying for a year. But check this out, and then we'll see if I can get his voice down.
I couldn't say one way or the other, but you shouldn't read anything into that.
Jim Comey came out after you gave your last interview. You responded to the IG Horowitz's report and spoke out about that. And then he spoke with Chris Wallace, and he said that the 17 mistakes and omissions that were uncovered in the FISA process he attributed it to sloppiness, largely. What do you say to that?
I think there's some of them very hard to square with the idea that these were just mistakes and sloppiness.
What I really want to say is that you would have to be born yesterday to believe that a person like Comey, a conniving, duplicitous, disingenuous, underhanded individual with ultimate bureaucratic authority would accidentally preside over 17 inaccuracies that also included falsified information and omissions that happen to frame and set up innocent individuals. But at the risk of sounding belligerent towards the former director, I have to say that at this point right now, it's pointing towards Comey trying to, for lack of a better word, railroad Donald Trump. But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself because they could have taken LSD along with methamphetamines and had a night of binge drinking to where they falsified information by accident.
I've said that a number of these episodes leave open the possibility of inferring bad faith or improper motive, but I hasten to add that, as I've said all along, that I've reached no determination on that, nor do I think a final determination on that is appropriate until all the evidence is in.
I hasten to make any prejudgment regarding any potential bias. I will say that from the text messages we found from Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, we did get a kind of role-playing scenario where in the middle of the evening, I believe it was the morning hours, one individual dressed up as the Marquis de Sade, and then the other individual had a wig resembling the orange hair color of Donald Trump. You can do the math on that one. Aside from that, we did find that the average text message regarding Trump contained, I would say, about 2 to 3 profane words alongside words, maybe 1 or 2 words that were not profane. So there could have been bias against Trump. We don't know yet, but we're leaning towards immense, overwhelming, pure, white-hot contempt and hatred towards Trump, which possibly could have interfered in the neutrality of the investigation.
The Horowitz himself, in his testimony, I think pretty well summed it up, which is this could be, on the one hand, at the very least, gross incompetence. On the other hand, it could also be improper motive. And he was not in a position to make that call, and that's why we have the U.S. Attorney John Durham looking into this.
Horowitz, in his decades-long experience, basically asked people like Strzok the following question: did you try to set up Trump? And each one of the FBI agents said no. So from that deep dive, and leaving no stone unturned on Horowitz's part, he concluded that they didn't. What we're looking into is a text message from Kevin Clinesmith, or perhaps another FBI agent, that said it was something to the effect, it was some FBI agent that said that they had fantasies, department-wide fantasies at the FBI of launching the future President Donald Trump into orbit on one of the new Space Force program satellites, on a peace mission to Mars, with enough fuel only for landing but not returning. So we're looking into if that perhaps factored into any investigation.
I want to ask you more about that in a moment. Are you surprised that James Comey is so convinced himself that all of this was completely above board? He came out and said there was no...
For lack of a better word, James Comey can stick things where the sun don't shine. I've had enough, so I'm leaving now. And guess what? I'm in the U.S. government currently. James Comey is a contributor to the Washington Post. You do the math on that. Oh my goodness. If you lasted this long to my 9-minute crowd, I'm sorry. It's just, you know what? Sometimes you just have to enjoy yourself. So this is a guilty pleasure. Anyway, the issues... The issue here, the issues here were in the Daily Wire article, IG report, here are 17 specific inaccuracies and omissions in the FBI's FISA warrants against Carter Page. Obviously, they were all deliberate. The whole point against the satirical skit that I engaged in, the whole point was that it was all on purpose. So, of course, oh my God. It was all on purpose. They didn't accidentally engage in 17 inaccuracies. Okay, so the inaccuracies are: 1, omitted information from another U.S. government agency detailing prior relationships with Page, including that Page had been approved as an operational contact for the other agency from 2000. This is John Brennan's agency, from 2008 to 2013, and that Page had provided information to other agencies concerning prior contacts. So he was already working with the United States government. Carter Page, Kevin Clinesmith, and others did not allow the FISA judge this. Did not tell the FISA judge this deliberately. Almost certainly deliberately. Number 2, included a source characterization statement asserting that Christopher Steele's prior reporting had been corroborated and used in criminal proceedings, which overstated the significance of Steele's past reporting. It was not approved by Steele's FBI handling agent. So none of that was true. In the way it was stated, none of it was true. Number 3, omitted information relevant to the reliability of person 1, a key Steele subsource. The whole thing was nonsense. Okay, Christopher Steele did not step foot in Russia, yet he said he had Russian sources, so he must have done everything over the phone or via email. Anyway, the whole thing was nonsense. The Steele dossier was never used to indict anyone, nor was it used for the current articles of impeachment. The whole thing's nonsense. Number 4, asserted that the FBI has assessed that Steele did not directly provide the press information in the September 23rd Yahoo News article. They used a Yahoo News article. We can go on. There's 17. They omitted, they fabricated, they falsified information. This is, when you look at how they deceived, it was numerous FISA applications, renewals, several judges, not just one, and 17 total inaccuracies, omissions, and falsified information. All of it is falsified information. If you omit something that should be known, you are falsifying the information within the application. You're doing it the whole thing is that you're doing it deceptively to deceive the FISA judges. That's the point. The FBI doesn't, these are not mistakes. They weren't checking boxes. They falsified information. The omission is falsifying information. Okay? Then there were examples where Kevin Clinesmith actually talks about guilt, where he goes, my name is all over these applications, and Trump, what's he going to do? So you look at the text messages alone. Kevin Clinesmith, attorney, FBI, hid Page's patriotic role as an intelligence operative. So he was an intelligence operative for the United States government. He deliberately left that out. Okay. Why did Clinesmith and others deliberately leave that out? The reason he left that out is because had FISA judges known that Page already worked with the United States government, they would have known that he wasn't a threat to the United States, that he had already worked with the U.S. government. Imagine if you're already working with the United States government and U.S. intelligence community, you think they know who you are. The judges were given information to deceive them, to make them think that Carter Page had no relationship with the United States government. But here, you have Clinesmith admitting guilt. Making reference to his role in Crossfire Hurricane, Mr. Clinesmith said, plus my blankety-blank name is all over the legal documents investigating his staff. So, he's talking about Trump. And then you can just go ahead. This is the Tea Party on steroids. Mr. Clinesmith said his personal. Then he goes. Mr. Clinesmith said his personal political beliefs didn't affect the way he investigated the Trump campaign. Of course they did. You already have admission of guilt there, and he goes on to say, okay, plus my blankety blank name is all over the legal documents investigating his staff, and then he makes reference to, well, how's he going to react? So he was already afraid of retribution because he knew what he was doing was not legal. That's the point. He knew. So who knows if that breaks to him and what he's going to do? That's the admission right there. Clinesmith is already admitting. So who knows? He admits. So who knows if that breaks to him and what he's going to do? Then he wrote "Vive la résistance." Should be "la résistance," but whatever. In 2 weeks. So he's part of the resistance. These people are literally saying Durham and Barr already know what's going on. They already documented their guilt, their motive, their intent. And William Barr has already found enough to prosecute Clinesmith. In my view. Give me your thoughts below. And he's already found enough to prosecute Comey and McCabe and Strzok and all of them. This is pretty easy. You have the most, not just unorthodox, bizarre, absurd. You have people doing things they shouldn't have done under the pretext of national security when nothing was national security. There were no classified emails. There was top secret emails on Clinton's servers, but they let that go. The DNC emails allegedly hacked. John Brennan stated we do intelligence, not evidence. We don't do evidence, we do intelligence. The ODNI and DHS reports come with confidence assessments, not certainty. They never say Russia certainly hacked. They say we're confident this happened. That's it. The reason they tried to link Trump was to undermine Trump because that their political views were there. They acted upon their political views. It's not very difficult. Give me your thoughts below. The Martha MacCallum interview is really interesting, and I'll link that below. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so much. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second.